Refund lines are exploding across America, and the RV industry is in full-blown panic mode. Rigs are being sent back of modes, and the reason behind is so shocking the manufacturers are scrambling to keep it quiet. Owners are reporting the same failures over and over again. And that's where the real story sets. Here's where it gets worse. This refund wave isn't slowing pan, it's accelerating. Service centers are overwhelmed. Auctions are flooded, and values are dropping faster than anyone predicted. And the deeper you look, the clearer it becomes. This isn't a glitch. It's a system failure. If you own an RV, or are thinking buying one, what happens next could cost you thousands. A refund explosion nobody saw coming. By early 2025, the RV industry faced a shock it had never experienced. Refund requests surged past 2 million units, overwhelming manufacturers who only a year earlier insisted demand was stable. These returns did not come from casual dissatisfaction. They came from owners who reached the limit of what they were willing to tolerate. Shipment logs from 2020 through 2021 showed production at historic highs, a pace that seemed justified at the time. Families wanted travel freedom, and factories responded by building as quickly as possible. The cracks formed fast. When each segment fade, the flaws remain. Owners realized the rigs they purchased were aging far quicker than they should. Refund departments grew so swamped that hold times stretched in hours. Some waited weeks just to receive a term authorization. Others documented multiple failures within the first months of ownership, enough to qualify under state lemon rules. Manufacturers expected minor warranty work. They got as a stampede claims they cannot control. The refund surge became the first undeniable sign that the market built during the pandemic was never sustainable. And as soon as the returns hit the system, the second shockwave began. The thin failures triggered rush back. The reason the refund wave is so hard 2025 gained on to consistent power across the country described them word for word. Leaks appeared near roof scenes at first rank. Flicker work entire on trips that were supposed to be fast. Slide mechanisms ran on level surfaces. These were isolated events. Warranty data from the prior 2 years showed a spike in repeated failures across multiple brands and model lines. Some rigs returned to service centers 3-4 times before ours finally demanded a full refund. Service departments could not keep up. Parts shortages meant delays. Technicians were stretched thin. Owners who once believed they could handle occasional maintenance found themselves trapped in cycles of repeated visits and rising out-of-pocket expenses. The rigs, were not aging naturally, they were deteriorating under normal use. It became clear that quality has slipped during the production rush, and those shortcuts now carried real financial consequences. Each failure added pressure, and every unresolved repair pushed another owner toward the same conclusion. Once these faulty rigs are fun, the industry needs some rear to send on. And that is where the collapse became visible to the public. If this is opening your eyes to how deep the refund surge really goes, make sure you like and subscribe so you stay on the next rounds. Your feedback matters, so add your thoughts below. Every essay helps to protect your wallet before the next wave hits. Auction falls became the beam round. The moment refunded RVs re-entered the system, the flood auction site, a pace the industry had never seen. These were not slow trickles. They ride in convoys, units that readily sold for $80,000, strove to bring 20,000 to auction, with some falling in ore. Screens showed hammer prices collapsing after week, the tree state of the market far earlier in retail scenes ever were. Dealers watched these numbers disbelief. Owners watched them dread. The auction lanes told the truth. The value of these roofs was unraveling faster than any 1,000 RVs stood financing attached. Yet the resale numbers dropped below stand-in loan balances. That immense forced more returns, more consigned dumps, and more liquidity shows. It became loot, the fat so. Refund units and auctions. Prices dropped. More units became underwater. More returns followed. The free fall spread nationwide, and buyers believed they could sell quickly, found so stuck. This avalanche of refunds, auction dumps, did not originate at random. It pointed back to one region that built more rings than could ever move. The reader. Overwhelmed the crisis. Mortar and Dew, Tahir Elkhart counties, produced nearly 9 out of every 10 RVs manufactured during the pandemic surge. Production lines expanded, shifts increased, and output soared to meet inquiry demand. Factory yards filled the units weighing the transport. At the time, it seemed a sign continued prospered. But the truth was far harsher. As production decisions feared long-term demand, it would never materialize. When refunds surged and auction prices collapsed, backlog came to nur. Sword lots overflowed of recurring unsold use, some so tightly packed trucks struggled to navigate a few euros. Manufacturers slowed production and halted certain line hairs. They were already alarmed that the volume burst during the peace years. Every return RV added to the pile. Every unsold unit pushed values down further. Dealers across the country began refusing new shipments because they had no space, no demand, and no financial room to carry more inventory. This is how a regional production surge turned into a national financial shut. Oversupply met refunds met collapsing values, and the entire system began to strain under its own weight. And the pressure building inside dealer lots would become the next breaking point in the story. The store plan squeeze. Dealerships entered the downturn race in. Rising interest rates on floor plan loans me past their lips. These loans function like timers attached to every RV, sitting a lot, digging upward each day the unit goes unsold. During the pandemic surge, lenders offered rates near 2%, and dealers barely noticed the carrying costs. Once the market shifted, updated rate sheets showed sudden jumps into higher brackets, with monthly interest charges doubling or tripling depending on inventory size. That pressure hit hardest when demand cooled, sales slowed. The sale turning easily, dealers found themselves paying to haul risks, the releasing value by the weight. Cash flow dried up. Some stores quietly delayed reordering parts, postponed service appointments, or cut staff hours. Others contacted lenders asking for temporary relief, until the repayment schedules were tightened, not easy. Every unsold RV became a liability rather than an asset. To stay afloat, many dealers began slashing prices across multiple miles, hoping lower TODs would create a movement to keep lenders satisfied. That shift sparked a wave of listings priced far below what anyone expected. Those lower tags created a new temptation, drawing attention toward deals that looked extraordinary but came with complications hidden beneath the surface. The bargain mirage. As dealers fought to unload inventory, liquidation platforms filled with discounted RVs. Some were bank repossessions, others came from rental fleets, and many were dealer-owned units priced aggressively just to reduce floor plan pressure. At first glance, these listings looked like opportunities. Priced as well under national market averages, appeared next to photos showing clean interiors and glossy series. Buyers scrolling through major liquidation sites often saw rigs advertised for a fraction of their original purchase cost. Karina says that the downturn unlocked unheard bargains. Liquidation pricing rarely tells a story. Most of these rigs reached the block through inspection. Nay, a new histories, undercover repairs, were lingering mechanical issues not displayed illicit flaws. Documentation varied widely, and condition reports were often short or sweet. The temptation came from the numbers, but the risk came from the missing context. Without dealership warranties or detailed service records, the burden of verification fell entirely on the person making the purchase. In the normal market, this might be manageable. And liquidation due varm, the vine quish of listings made the process unpredictable and costly. And behind that uncertainty lurked a deeper problem, one tied directly to paperwork used to justify these deals, title and vague manipulation. The paperwork attached to discounted RVs to appear clean at first glance, deeper checks offer real mismatches that tell a very soy title option. The pipes were danged or previously salvaged units move across state lines to remove many visitations. King Mercoming bring oversupply period. Atiami new and free warnings. If the use history can show major repairs, flood exposure, or insurance write-offs. The only way to detect these problems is through a full Veng search across multiple databases, including national registries, where discrepancies sometimes appear months after a unit changes hands. NMVTIS data revealed surprising inconsistencies during the recent downturn, with several rigs carrying histories not reflected on their current documents. Some units showed mileage irregularities, while others carried repair codes tied to structural or electrical work never disclosed by sellers. The biggest danger is not only inheriting a damaged RV, but living with the consequences. Insurance companies routinely deny coverage for units with altered histories, and resale values collapse once the truth emerges. Even rigs that appear legitimate can carry lingering risks when past records do not align, and even if the paperwork checks out. Another financial hit waits in the final stage of the transaction, one that catches many off guard: hidden fee stack. The advertised price on a discounted RV is only the starting point. Auction platforms and liquidation outlets stack additional fees onto every transaction, turning a seemingly affordable purchase into a costly commitment. Buyer premiums alone can add hundreds of dollars, often calculated as a percentage of the winning bid. Documentation fees follow, covering processing, title transfer handling, or administrative reviews. Some sellers include mandatory reconditioning charges even when the unit shows no visible repairs. Transport costs rise quickly as well, especially when rigs must be moved across long distances or retrieved from storage yards with limited access. Real option invoices show how fast these numbers escalate. A listing advertised near $5,000 may climb past $9,000 once every add-on is included. That difference often arrives at the very end of the process, long after the buyer has committed to the purchase. Negotiation is rarely possible, and refunds are uncommon. These expenses do not even account for immediate maintenance, replacement parts, or safety repairs needed just to make the unit roadworthy. By the time the dust settles, the low entry price looks far less appealing. And once the financial layers are exposed, the next stage of the downturn emerges in the form of physical issues hidden within the rigs themselves. Why owners gave up. Many owners reached a breaking point, not because of a single failure, but because of a steady stream of issues that refuse to stop. Leaks appeared early in ownership, often around roof seams or slide-out corners, and water intrusion led to soft spots that spread faster than expected. Electrical faults followed, ranging from simple light failures to full panel shutdowns that left rigs unusable during trips. Slide systems jammed repeatedly, sometimes locking halfway and forcing expensive manual resets. Warranty claim patterns from the past 2 years show these problems appearing far more often than industry averages. Overwhelming service departments that were already short-staffed. Owners found themselves paying monthly installments while waiting weeks for repair appointments. Some repairs required multiple attempts, adding frustration and more out-of-pocket costs. The math no longer made sense when repair bills grew faster than the remaining loan balance. For many, the decision to return their RV came from recognizing that ongoing maintenance exceeded the value they would ever recover. Every delay made the situation worse, and by the time the warranty center called back, some owners had already decided that returning the unit was the only practical option. Those mounting issues pointed to something larger happening behind the scenes, and the story became clearer once factory operations were examined more closely. Fulfilled quantity crash. Factories facing unprecedented demand shifted into overdrive, running extended hours and increasing output far beyond historical norms. This accelerated pace left little time for thorough inspections, and internal defect rate reports from the period show a sharp climb in errors that would normally be caught on the production line. Components that required careful alignment were rushed. Sealant work, grew inconsistent, and electrical routing showed more variation than acceptable. Each shortcut saved minutes but created long-term issues that would not surface until months after purchase. Quality assurance teams struggled to keep up. When production volume increases rapidly, oversight usually becomes more important. Yet staffing did not scale at the same rate as output. Some models rolled off the line in good condition, while others left with flaws baked into their construction. Depreciation accelerated as buyers realized the rigs aging in their driveways were built during a period when quality control had been stretched thin. The usable lifespan of these units shrank, and resale numbers reflected that decline long before interest rates or market conditions worsened. Still, not all models suffered equally, and differences between product lines revealed which rigs managed the downturn and which struggled from day one. Before you leave, subscribe. The next phase of this refund crisis is already forming, and the numbers are moving faster than most realize. Staying connected ensures you never miss the shifts that could save you thousands in the months ahead. The struggle versus units that survived. When resale data was sorted by model lines, clear patterns emerged. Some rigs consistently lost value faster than others because their materials, layouts, or components were more susceptible to wear. Lightweight models using thinner wall structures tended to show early degradation, while certain mid-range units built with stronger framing held up better. Resale charts highlighted which models experienced steep 3-year drops and which maintained stability despite the market declines. Analyzing these trends discovered a wide gap between well-built rigs and those assembled during peak pressure. Materials play a major role. Vinyl flooring, low-grade cabinetry, and budget insulation contributed to rapid aging, while units with heavier framing and durable surfaces resisted common wear points. Depreciation rates tied directly to these construction differences. A rig with stronger build characteristics could weather the downturn because it actually delivered long-term value. Meanwhile, units with cheaper components created recurring repair cycles that drained resources year after year. But even models that performed well from the factory were not immune to problems. Once they entered liquidation channels, transport handling, storage conditions, and rushed processing introduced new risks that did not appear in resale charts alone. Those hidden dangers emerged most clearly during physical inspections, revealing issues that went far beyond cosmetic wear. The structural danger layer. Once RVs entered repossession yards or liquidation lots, underlying structural issues became more visible. Rot often appeared first, usually hidden beneath flooring or behind wall panels where moisture had collected for months. Wiring faults developed when water intrusion corroded connections, creating intermittent shorts that only appeared under load. Frame rust proved even more serious, especially around suspension mounts or weld seams exposed to stored moisture. Axle fatigue, a consequence of uneven loading or long-distance transport, became a frequent concern in rigs. Mugrakele became holding rigs. Inspection reports from these facilities describe units that looked clean in photos, yet carried risks capable of doubling long-term ownership costs. A minor wiring flaw could escalate into a full electrical replacement. A soft floor panel might demand complete structural reinforcement. Rust near suspension components could lead to alignment problems, requiring specialized repairs. These hidden issues turned seemingly affordable rigs into expensive commitments once the true condition became known. All of this helped explain why the earlier phases of the downturn unfolded so quickly. The combination of production shortcuts, rushed repairs, and harsh storage environments created layers of problems that showed up only after the rigs changed hands. And while these conditions clarify how the past collapsed, they also set the stage for the next disruption, beginning to help beyond the factory floor. The new RV economy. The market that existed before the pandemic is gone, replaced by a new structure shaped by changed financing rules, altered demand, and a completely different depreciation curve. Multi-year trend lines now show values dropping faster and recovering more slowly than at any point in the past 2 decades. This shift did not happen by accident. Higher interest rates, oversupply, and tightened lending criteria created an environment where every purchase carries more long-term weight. Dealers cannot rely on rapid turnover. Lenders demand stronger qualifications, and resale numbers no longer follow predictable seasonal patterns. For anyone considering an RV, timing has become more important than ever. A unit purchased at the wrong point in the cycle can lose thousands in value before the first season ends. Conversely, selecting the right window can preserve cash and limit depreciation to a manageable level. The new market rewards patience and punishes impulse decisions. It functions more like a financial landscape, a recreational one. Understanding these patterns is essential for anyone preparing to navigate the months ahead. A downturn is real, but it also contains moments of opportunity, and those opportunities become clear once a structured approach is applied to the buying process. Practical protection strategy. A strategic plan begins with tagging case studies from recent buyers. Waiting for regional inventory peaks resulted in savings measured in thousands of dollars. When lots filled faster than they emptied, prices softened across multiple models, allowing disciplined shoppers to secure rigs far below initial asking levels. This pattern repeated in several states, demonstrating that patience creates financial leverage. Inspection discipline is equally important. Quick checks are no longer enough. A thorough evaluation of seals, wiring, roof condition, and frame integrity prevents unexpected expenses later. Negotiation matters, and sequencing helps. Using real sale prices anchors the discussion and prevents drifting numbers. Dealers under pressure often take lower offers when they see a prepared approach. This evidence-based method preserves cash, avoids repair traps, and keeps first year. Yet, even the best strategies must adapt because a new type of RV is entering a downturn of its own: the electric RV disruption. The rise of electric RVs prompts cleaner travel and lower maintenance costs. The reality unfolding in early prototypes shows a different set of challenges. Battery degradation appears sooner than predicted in several test runs. As entry-windows exposed to extreme temperature changes are von distress. Towing demands weight penalties created by large battery packs, reduce carrying capacity, and strain suspension systems, increasing wear on components that were never designed to manage such load. Infrastructure gaps further complicate ownership. Charging stations capable of supporting large recreational rigs remain limited in many regions, forcing detours. Rexton reads that disrupt travel plans. Dealer bulletins show hesitation to stock early electric models as warranty issues grow. Some stores cut orders over reliability concerns. If values fall quickly, early owners risk major losses before battery replacements. And unclear resale pricing is creating volatility similar to the current downturn. These shifting conditions lead to one final critical question: how should someone act in the immediate weeks ahead? The 30-day window. When market cycles accelerate, the short-term window becomes the most important factor in protecting money. Indicators from dealer inventories, transport schedules, upcoming seasonal transitions point toward a brief period when prices may soften again. The next 30 days represent a moment where oversupply meets regional slowdowns, especially in areas preparing for colder weather. This convergence often produces quieter showrooms, reduced bidding activity, and more willingness from sellers to negotiate before carrying costs rise. Acting without preparation is risky, but approaching this window with a clear plan offers meaningful protection. Patience still matters. A listing that looks attractive can hide long-term costs. So verify every detail and walk away when the numbers do not hold. Oversupply and shifting product lines make this period critical. Navigating it carefully preserves capital and positions you to benefit from coming adjustment. Another price drop is forming, and staying ahead of it shapes the rest of the year. This refund meltdown is only the start. In the next wave is already forming. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, not get blindsided by it, make sure you're paying attention. It helped you hit like some more hours, see what's coming, share your experience in the comments. Refunds, repairs, confuse, anything. And don't forget to subscribe. The goods are on the way, and you want to miss what happens next.